so last year.
Since 2012, the Arrowverse has grown from a little gritty show into a whole television universe, including hit series like Supergirl, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. With massive casts and iconic roles, these actors have a lot on their plate and some pretty strict rules to follow in the process. Join us as we break these rules down and discuss one rule that has a deep-rooted connection with the classic TV show Smallville.
Am I the only one who suits up one leg at a time?
Well, yeah, it's a skirt, so I don't have to deal with legs and zippers and stuff like that.
Put it on.
One of the biggest perks of being an actor on an Arrowverse show is having the ability to play a memorable superhero or supervillain. In the case of the villain, there have been numerous times where a masked villain needed to keep their identity a secret. We've seen this a ton on The Flash, with characters like Reverse Flash, Zoom, and Savitar hidden behind a mask before their big reveal. Well, unfortunately for the stars playing those characters, they actually rarely get to dress up for the part. To keep the identity a secret and prevent leaks online, body doubles are often used in the suits. That means that if you're an actor who's been cast in one of these pivotal roles, you actually don't get to spend too much time in the awesome costume they've designed for you. In the end, it's worth protecting the secret on the show, but we imagine some of these actors got their hopes up to really dig into a role and go through the full transformation to become a hero or villain. Chances are, if you've previously been on a CW show, then you have a chance of booking a role in the Arrowverse. The CW family includes a wide range of actors and performers. Once you've dipped your shoes into the network's water, they will come calling back over and over again. Just look at leading stars like Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell. Both actors had roles on the CW's 90210 remake before getting cast as iconic heroes. Then there's Arrow's Katie Cassidy. She started out on Supernatural playing Ruby, transitioned to the short-lived Melrose Place remake, and spent a half season on Gossip Girl before nabbing the role of Laurel Lance on Arrow. The trend has been going on for years, even for actors who appear in smaller roles. The CW reins actors in as tight as they can while they appear on a variety of shows, and are able to get more prominent roles year after year. After shows like Arrow end, we have to wonder what actors will pop up on other CW shows. When a superhero gets called into action within the Arrowverse, there's pretty much one strict rule. Those costumes have to be tight. The only hero who has an exception is pretty much Constantine, whose messy look is all part of the design. Due to his high-speed running, Barry Allen's Flash costume may be the tightest of them all, but heroes like the Black Canary are in some pretty tight outfits as well. Well, after a day of filming as the Black Canary, Katie Cassidy is not carefully removed from her outfit so it can be preserved for the next day of filming. She actually has the outfit cut off her body directly. The process saves time and allows her to go home much faster than waiting for the costume to get carefully peeled off of her body. On shows like Arrow and Supergirl, there are numerous actors who sign up as day players. Essentially, they are single-episode characters who have a small role in the episode and are never really seen again. While for the main casts of these shows, it's important they treat these day players with the same respect and camaraderie as any other actor, because they may often become permanent co-stars. This scenario has actually happened on Arrow twice, and helped lead to some of the most memorable characters. Just take a look at Felicity Smoke. The actress was literally only supposed to have one line in the whole series. Well, things quickly snowballed as the character's chemistry with Oliver Queen grew, and then she became a pivotal part of Team Arrow within Season 1. Another pivotal part of Team Arrow? John Diggle. The character was made up for the show and was supposed to have a minor role, but his significance in Oliver's journey and his own journey helped shape the whole series and really transformed the whole first season. A lot of the credit can be given to both the actors and the writers who allow the characters to fit in, grow, and become essential parts of the show. So you never know how a small role could turn into something huge within the Arrowverse. If you're an actor on an Arrowverse, then you'll likely have to appear in another show. First of all, there's the backdoor pilots, like how Barry Allen made his debut in Season 2 of Arrow before The Flash premiered the following fall season. Then there are the major crossover events for each series. In many cases, the actors have to put in the extra work and are still only paid their typical show salary, despite appearing on episodes for multiple shows. In the crossover Crisis on Earth X, characters from Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and The Flash all interacted with each other and appeared in episodes of the show. In the case of Stephen Amell, he even had to play dual roles, as he took over on the Oliver Queen of Earth X as well. The actors love to contribute to such large-scale productions, but they all come with a ton of extra work and extended hours to ensure the crossover is complete. Not only do cast members in the Arrowverse have to take on crossover episodes, but the connections between shows means that there are a lot of spin-off obligations to take on as well. In many cases, an actor should also be prepared to get shipped off to another show to help create a spin-off and build a connected universe. One of the best examples of this comes from the spin-off series Legends of Tomorrow. When the Legends of Tomorrow was building its large cast, several of the performers were from other Arrowverse shows and had to make multiple guest appearances on series like The Flash and Arrow before making their debut. One of the main ones that come to mind is Ray Palmer as the Atom. Then there's the character of Sarah Lance, played by Katie Lotz. The character is the core star of Legends of Tomorrow, but got her start on Arrow because of the relation to Laurel Lance and her father Quentin Lance. The obligations to appear in the spin-offs and continue character arcs is an essential part of making the universe feel real. Not only do actors get shifted to the spin-off shows, but they often have to lend their voice to some of the Arrowverse animated shows created over the years. In some cases, casts are forced to move to a whole different country to help reduce budgets and keep the production going. Take, for example, the show Supergirl. When Supergirl debuted, the show was on CBS. Despite decent ratings, the budget and LA filming location of the show did not make it sustainable enough to remain on the network. A shift to the CW meant the series had to cut down on the budget, and one of the main ways to do this was by moving the whole production from Los Angeles to Vancouver. For cast members, this meant uprooting their lives to stay on the show. Besides Callista Flockhart, a majority of the cast followed suit, keeping their roles on the show and moving up to Vancouver to continue the series as it now airs in its 5th season. In a case like this, there was pretty much nothing the cast could do. With tight television budgets, the shows have a lot of mandates, and cheaper filming in Vancouver helps make a big difference, and also makes taping all those crossover episodes a whole lot easier as well. If you're an actor on a superhero show, you have to know that a character's demise could come at any point to help create compelling storylines and really deliver on the emotional impact. The heroes found on the Legends of Tomorrow have a whole different set of worries to concern themselves with. The show is built on the idea of a rotating team, a roster of members who would come and go so each season would feel different, explore all types of characters, and provide a familiar feel to how teams often rotate in the comics. As an actor, this means that you can find your time on the show cut short, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Just after the first season, the Legends lost Hawkgirl, Hawkguy, and Captain Cold. By the end of season 3, Firestorm was gone from the cast as well. Kid Flash was only on for season 3, and this season we will see Ray Palmer's The Atom leave the show. For viewers, it's nice to see new actors come on and introduce us to new characters, but for the performers, there must be a little anxiety to whether their characters will be cut or stay with the Legends for the next season. What if we told you that Arrowverse actors were forced to take oatmeal baths? You may think that the cast are sent on relaxing spa retreats between filming, but this is not the case at all. The oatmeal bath Arrow actors Stephen Amell and David Ramsey had to endure included gallons upon gallons of oatmeal rushing on them. The reason? The oatmeal was a stand-in for wet concrete. In the season 5 episode, Honor Thy Fathers, Oliver and Diggle find themselves in a pretty bad situation as they end up in a small tomb that quickly fills up with some of the wet stuff. Even though a giant wet oatmeal bath is a far cry from wet cement, it's probably not the most pleasant experience and something the Arrowverse cast members often have to go through. These heroes are put in all kinds of situations involving wet concrete, explosions, and plenty of times where they are simply tied up to a chair. To help convey the story, increase the tension, and bring the action, these actors put themselves through a lot, giant oatmeal baths included. While the Arrowverse has built themselves to be a legitimately connected world, there's one area of the DC Comics that the Arrowverse cannot touch, the DCEU. While Batman has been hinted at, the Caped Crusader and a lot of his Justice League counterparts cannot be a part of the shows. Early on, Arrow introduced the Suicide Squad, only for the DCEU to pull rank and dismantle the group so the theatrical film could get made. The same happened to Deathstroke as well. When actors improvise or try to add moments in the show, they cannot include anything to do with characters like Wonder Woman or the Joker. Thankfully, Supergirl introduced their own version of Superman to help make things feel more DC.
Everyone, this is my cousin, I guess you already know.
We'll have to see how far things get pushed when the Crisis on Infinite Earths event premieres. Characters like Smallville's Clark Kent and Brandon Routh's Superman are joining in on the mix and showcasing the connected worlds in more ways than we could have imagined. Despite being limited to the DCEU, the actors have to take this in stride and often support big screen movies like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, even though the actors are banned from appearing in those movies due to their television roles. Naturally, if you're on a DC show, then you not only won't be appearing in any of the DCEU movies, but other comic book productions like Marvel Studios are off limits as well. Actors pretty much have to stay in their company's lane when it comes to crossing over with other franchises. The closest we've seen is Stephen Amell playing a role in the live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel, but the film is pretty much a part of the whole DC versus Marvel universe anyway. In the Arrowverse, the biggest actor to portray characters in both DC and Marvel would probably be Neil McDonough. On Arrow, he played Damien Dark for a good chunk of time, along with playing the same role on both The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. In the MCU, McDonough is known for playing Captain America's pal Howling Commando Dum Dum Dugan. He also portrayed the same role on both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, really expanding his roles through both the MCU and Arrowverse. Due to his reoccurring status, McDonough has free reign to swap between both franchises, but don't expect the main players like Melissa Benoist to appear in the next Marvel movie anytime soon. The key to playing a hero is looking the part, and for many of the Arrowverse actors, staying in shape is an essential part of their roles. On social media, many of the Arrowverse actors have showcased the hard work and effort they all put into staying in shape. In the weeks leading up to each season, the stars get back into the shape, building muscle and losing weight along the way. Stephen Amell is known for his intense workout scenes, which often include doing some pretty impressive salmon ladders. Besides looking the part, a lot of these heroes never know when the writers and producers are going to decide to put a shirtless scene into an episode. Just look at season 1 of Arrow. Stephen Amell went shirtless 23 different times and looked ripped in every one of them. Keeping up with a workout routine has become an essential part of playing the part season after season. In the Arrowverse, there's one unwritten rule that came all the way back from the early days of Smallville. On Smallville, one of the traditions was to have characters say the name of an episode title within the show. When Arrow premiered, the show decided to continue on with this tradition, and a majority of episodes follow the same guidelines. Of course, it always helps when episode names are either a single word or some pretty short phrases. Early seasons of Arrow featured episodes like An Innocent Man, Damaged, and Year's End. It's pretty natural to get all those phrases into the dialogue. The titles may even come from the dialogue itself instead of being forced in afterwards. Either way, this is something the actors are probably used to seeing at every table read. Keeping up with the Smallville tradition is a great way to find a connection with the show, especially as Arrow started off as a brand new start rather than a spin-off featuring Justin Hartley's Green Arrow character. On a show like Arrow, actors are probably tempted to pick up a bow and take their shot, but the whole process is not as simple as it sounds. Besides Oliver Queen, we've seen a countless number of characters shoot arrows over the years, but each actor must go through a rigorous training process before they can even grab hold of a bow. To help with this, the Arrowverse production team hired their own archery technician by the name of Patricia Gonzalez. She's responsible for training each actor with the bow, making them feel comfortable, and ensuring that they can shoot arrows while still looking professional. Unlike other prop weapons on the various shows, the bow and arrow can be easily shot, so it's important to have a professional there for protection and guidance. Other Arrowverse shows have also included some bow and arrow action, so Patricia is pretty much used for every show as needed. Along with training actors with the bow and arrow, Patricia also crafts every single arrow used on the show. She helps give each arrow its own unique touch, and her eye for quality and marksmanship really shows with the ability to create the highly detailed arrows we see season after season. When an actor joins the Arrowverse, they are not just joining the ranks of new shows like Black Lightning or Batgirl. These performers are joining the legacy of DC television and movies. And often, the actors must honor past cast members by acting alongside them. One of the best examples of this comes from The Flash. Grant Gustin plays the modern-day speedster, but he shared several scenes with actor John Wesley Shipp. Shipp played the Flash in a single season of the show back in the 90s, and was brought on to play Barry Allen's father along with an alternative timeline version of the Flash for the Arrowverse series. Gustin not only has to represent his own version of the hero, but live up to the former Flash himself. Then of course there's former Superman himself, Brandon Routh, who joined Arrow and the Legends of Tomorrow to play Ray Palmer and his superhero counterpart known as the Atom. The Crisis on Infinite Earths special event will honor former DC stars even further, with guest appearances from Burt Ward, Tom Welling, Erica Durance, and several other former DC actors. Honoring the past stars is just a part of the gig, and something these actors get to do at least once per season as they share scenes. Well, being a part of a superhero show must be great, but there are some major rules to follow. What rule do you think is the most strict? What's your favorite Arrowverse show? Any rules that you think we missed? Well, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.